or her conscience is sufficient to get the job done. It is, believe me. Okay, prove me wrong. You can't. We've been going the other direction forever now. Okay, we had a coup d'etat in 1963. It was a money printer's coup d'etat when they murdered JFK. He was abolishing the Federal Reserve. He was serious as a heart attack. Okay, he meant business. He was already circulating, had been for some time, these silver certificates, silver notes. And the media never talks about this anymore. What happened to it? Why did it have to disappear just because they murdered him? Why did that have to have a damn thing to do with him? Who was behind this? This thing was huge because the power of the money printing press is huge. And who we've got to blame for the problems in America today, it's not Antifa. It's not InfoWars. It's not Donald Trump. It's the money printing class in collusion with the politicos. These top high-ranking political figures. I'm talking the people that had to sign off on that loan, okay, in 2008, that bankster takeover, what they called euphemistically a bailout, okay? It's a bunch of bull. That was the overt theft of the wealth of our nation. That's what these politicos do. They legitimized it. They illegitimately legitimized that. They signed off on that. That's what that was. They knew what they were doing. I'm telling you, they got our cost of housing through the roof, just like a tax they put on us. That's it. People have got to understand the inseparable, absolute, direct correlation between a cost of living going up and the worth of your currency going down, okay? Between raising your standard of living and lowering your standard of living. It's right there. It's like, what is the opposite of currency debasement? Okay, you want the worth of your currency to go up. That's how you define progress, social economic progress. So Trump right now, we got to stand behind him and understand. First, he's got to get this train stopped because, like I keep saying, this train of oppression and tyranny, again, it's all through the finances, it's all through the economics, it's all through lowering the standard of living, and it's all the context, the pretext, the hoax is that it's to save the planet. Because if everybody's out there living the life of Riley, an extravagant lifestyle, burning up jet fuel and heating and cooling their homes, okay, then the earth will boil over. It will destroy the planet. That's it. That's all they've got, man. Because people are going to wake up to the stuff I'm saying. They're going to say it's not really that radical. The guy makes sense. He's talking pro-conservative and pro-liberal. Okay, there's no reason why we can't have the best of both worlds and get rid of the crap, the dross. We don't want it. We don't want it. We don't want crony capitalism. We don't want communism. We want the best of both philosophies, belief systems, of conservative and liberal. I see myself, I was raised really quite liberal, okay, but my dad was never a hippie, but he was a radical. He spoke out. He wrote a radical book back in the 60s, and it was a satire on the United States government. He knew some things perhaps that he shouldn't have been talking about, being that he was in the Marine Corps. So that's how they got the book censored, because I don't know. I mean, it's supposed to be American, free speech and all that. Yeah, he used profanities in the book, and he wasn't particularly proud of a lot of the stuff he wrote in there. And he told me later in life. But, you know, he was, for whatever reason, he really hated the neocons, okay? And it's like hating crony capitalism. I mean, yeah, you can understand it. But I say don't hate the being, hate their belief system, okay, and the fruits thereof. I say that's true. He's right. There's a lot of evil in the conservative party movement, and vice versa. There's a lot of evils in the liberal party. But I gained my own conservative views on my own. I mean, going to church and realizing, hey, these are a bunch of nice people, and it's interesting to learn more about them and you know, see what's up, you know. And so I like people, and I found that some of the best people in the world are in churches, and it's a nice feeling to know that there's people that will give you their shirts off their back, okay? It's a good, comforting feeling, and everybody should have that. So church is good. You don't get that from secular society. I mean, how many places can you go where it's not membership fees or something's expected of you? There's peer pressure, you know, and all this. I mean, you got the alumni from colleges, and everybody's got, you know, little cliques and all this stuff that I'm not interested in society. But, you know, the churches, too, you see that it starts turning into a social club often, and there's nothing wrong with that, I guess. But anyhow, so I've got my own conservative views. I guess that would be a conservative leaning. But liberals, just the same. You could find liberals in church, too. You can find great people in church. So I'm not at all opposed to church. I like church. I think people should go on the right day of the week. If you're going to go, you should go on the Sabbath like Jesus talked about. That was when he taught in the church. And so the Sabbath is a Saturday. And what churches worship on the Saturday? You'd have to go to a Seventh-day Adventist church. And they're just the nicest people you could ever meet. You know, they might be a little legalistic, this whole, oh, we stick to the Sabbath and all. But, you know, you can talk there. These people can take criticism, okay? They're not snowflakes. I guess that's the new term nowadays of, you know, you can't say anything too controversial to somebody or else, oh, you might offend them because they don't have a retort to or any kind of cogent argument to their belief system. But no, these people you can talk to about anything. So freedom is an absolute quality. Okay, that's the point I'm trying to make. And so what we're looking for is using money, using capitalism only as a means to an end, because we need to get completely free from it. If Jesus Christ, no, not if, but when Jesus Christ is ruling over the affairs of men, money is not going to have any role, because Satan has been using this to have vast power. So if it has any role, it's going to be like Pandora's box. Once you open that crack, that door just a little bit, okay, then these demonic forces rush in, because you get somebody that loves money. And it turns out to be the money lovers that get control of the money, the printing presses. And then people sycophantically suck up to these people, and they work in collusion against the best interests of the people. Remember, 90% of the American people, I'm so happy for that statistic, 90+% of the American people were opposed to the bankster takeover of '08. Okay, this is when it was solidified, man. Our oppression, our destiny of tyranny was solidified. All this stuff about trade with China and the Mexico and the immigrants and the wars and all this stuff is secondarily. Mainly, they've just got to keep us down and get us from so many angles that we're never able to get up. That the only hope we have is just give up your will to live. Just get ready to march off to a death camp. So suicides are way up. We're seeing this. They're poisoning our food. It's coming out in the media now. They find out, oh, yeah, sorry. The FDA tells you it's all safe to drink this. Drink to your heart's content diet soda pop. No problem. Nothing wrong with aspartame and nothing wrong with high fructose corn syrup. We're not even going to tell you we're changing the recipe. FDA says high fructose corn syrup and the mercury that's used in the processing that makes its way into the soda, that's fine. Don't worry about that stuff. Okay, yeah, you know what? Don't listen to those nuts. And now it comes out, no, you've been damaging your brain. Okay, they didn't get into depth the science of it, but Dr. Russell Blaylock has, and I've been telling people for years since I learned about it. This stuff creates wood alcohol in your bloodstream, causes brain damage, and now the mainstream media is finally coming out and telling people, oh, it's too late now, sorry, you're half brain dead now. I mean, give me a break. This is sick, man. This is what we're allowing to happen. It's happening right under our noses. They're murdering us. Blindness, okay, is another one of the symptoms from drinking this aspartame. So it's terrible stuff. But, you know, the chemtrailing, the mainstream media is not touching this. All these weather guys out there, these meteorologists, I mean, they're all liars just by covering this up, knowing that their viewers are curious. What is this all about? Is there anything to it? Are they really experimenting, or have they already started spraying, and who's overseeing it? How do we know they're not someday going to just decide to spray some biohazardous weapon upon the population after they've inoculated their followers? Okay, we want to know that. Inquiring minds want to know. We don't want to be treated like mushrooms, okay, and boiled like frogs, so we don't jump out of the pan. You guys are diabolical, and to our own peril, we underestimate how freaking evil you are. You people suck, man. You're evil, and you're all going to hell. Repent or perish. I'm not judging. I'm not passing judgment on anybody. I'm not condemning anybody, but I'm warning everybody that's evil. If I'm talking to an evil person, I'm telling you, man, okay, the day is coming, the day of reckoning. That is the great and terrible day of the Lord's judgment. And for you, for me, for any of us, it might be today, our last day on earth, when we have to give up this mortal coil. That's when we stand before our owner, okay, and we give account for our belief systems. And there better be something there, just like the oil in the lamps, okay? You better have something. There better be something worth saving. It's got to not be all dross, like it talks about in the book of Revelation. If you're lukewarm, okay, then I'm going to spit you out of my mouth, okay? He's going to barf us up. So we've got to have something of substance, something substantial, worthy to save, so that we can go to a better world. We'll feel deserving and rightfully to inherit a better world, because that's what it's all about. We've all got to be born again, in the sense that we've got to cast off this shell, this mortal coil, this body of death has to go, and we need to rely on what the Bible says, that the resurrection of the dead is a reality, that God can as easily resurrect the dead as he did everything else miraculous that he did. This is a cosmic, wondrous universe, and we're part of that. So it's not a religious thing. It's a cosmic, wondrous, mysterious, miraculous thing that we're a part of, knowing that we're beloved, that God is consistent, and we're like his children. That's the relationship he wants us to understand, because he put that in us on an instinctive level to nurture and care about one another, and he's nurturing, caring about us. And he wants our values to be the same, to value the souls of men, other people, friends. That's essentially it. Just we're it. We're the greatest thing on earth. Okay, beings are the greatest thing in the universe. A living, breathing human being or other being that's made in the image and likeness of God. And there could be countless populated planets, in the universe, and many, many right in our galaxy. We don't know, but they're finding Goldilocks planets that are 10 times the size of Earth, just waiting to be populated. I mean, this is the reality. This is the power of God, So I'm not saying we shouldn't take care of our Earth. Of course we should, but release the patents, release the clean energy technology. And it's not that we haven't made strides. We have. That's one area we've made progress, is in the ecology. But now they're just saying, oh no, it's still the biggest worry we have on Earth is this. Don't worry about the wars. Don't worry about economic oppression, and don't worry about plenty of crime because of the economic oppression, the desperate poverty that induces it. Okay, don't worry about that. Don't worry about the national debt and the perpetual debasement of your currency because your cost of living keeps going up. Your taxes have kept going up. Don't worry about that stuff. No. We just have to worry about the planet. Don't worry about the abortions. Don't worry about all the vices and forms of escapism people engage in, because they can't stand the reality, so-called, that's been shoved down our throats from birth. Freedom, that's a bunch of bull. You've got to be crazy to think you're free. You don't have bills, okay? No, you do have bills, okay? And I have bills. We're born here. And, just because I hate money, and other people like myself that hate money, that get it, that understand this is an idea, okay, a way to oppress people. It's the tool that Satan uses. So I hate the tool that Satan uses to have power in this world. Yes, I want it taken away from him. But I've got to be patient like everybody else and wait for God's hand to come into play here. And if Donald Trump is working to make straight the paths of the Lord, I say that's great. He may be just a precursor, but somebody's got to do it. And it's going to happen sooner or later, one way or another. God's will is going to be accomplished on earth. And that's vital for everybody to understand. So all the evil people collectively cannot stop what is coming. And it's coming through things like knowledge, understanding, wisdom, accurate education, accurate information, and that is the power there. But people have to not only know these things, they've got to share these things, because when you're empowered from all this true wisdom, and it doesn't change with the ages, you can go back anciently and it's the same kind of truths, the same kind of information, the same kind of wisdom about good and evil in this world, and it's very relative and contemporary today. So you can see it, and we've all got to confront it wherever we find it. And when we find it in each other, we have to confront each other. But in a way, that's more like a driving out of the demons and saying, well, look, I know you wouldn't be this way if you could see the light, if you understand that nothing's to be taken from you. It's like me. The idea that anybody is threatened by me in any way, shape, or form is troubling to me. Okay, I don't like it. Okay, it's an assault on my sensibilities. and it offends me, quite frankly. But I understand why people feel offended and concerned and threatened by some of the things I say. This whole idea of a world without money, and that's the means to an end, is just using money to get to a world without money. Okay, but I don't know how else to do it. Is to say, look, this is the root of all of our problems. And if we could have all the stuff, and we can, because if you use your God-given imagination to think and to consider what I'm saying, you'll say it's true. You can have great prosperity, and it need to have nothing to do with money. That all the great strides in technology and infrastructure we have on the earth and in outer space now with the satellites and toys on Mars and all this crap, okay, we'd have that without capital. So all you people that say, well, capital, like Max Kaiser says, you can't have capitalism without capital. And, to a degree, I can prescribe to that only if, with this caveat, that you understand it was God that creates all capital.